طيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم ويمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون لما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كن لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآيت لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا منه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلك منه النهار فإذا هم مسلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا شمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنؤتم ما لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلى صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قال يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو ونعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تأكلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسكناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن أمر نكس في الخلق أفلا يأكلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر قرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول للكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال ما يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأكثر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على سورة الفاتحة. सलवात। करबला की कहानी जब कोई भी सुनाएगा, करबला की कहानी जब कोई भी सुनाएगा, दिल वालों की आँखों से एक दरिया बहाएगा। वो कारवां सरवर का जो शानों से निकला था, वो कारवां सरवर का जो शानों से निकला था, सुगरा को खबर क्या थी ना लौट के आएगा, सुगरा को खबर क्या थी ना लौट के आएगा। मेहमान बुलाया है ऐ कूफियों सरवर को, मेहमान बुलाया है ऐ कूफियों सरवर को, क्या कुंभा साए दिन का पानी नहीं पाएगा, क्या कुंभा साए दिन का पानी नहीं पाएगा। पामाल हुआ कासिम यूं गोरों की टापों से, पामाल हुआ कासिम यूं गोरों की टापों से, किस तरह चचा तेरी मैयत को उठाएगा, किस तरह चचा तेरी मैयत को उठाएगा। हाथों का कटने का कुछ गम ना दिलावर को, सैदानियों का पर्दा अब कौन बचाएगा, सैदानियों का पर्दा अब कौन बचाएगा। टूटी है कमर से की घबराना मगर अकबर, टूटी है कमर से की घबराना मगर अकबर, फर्जंद नबी तेरी लाशे को उठाएगा, फर्जंद नबी तेरी लाशे को उठाएगा। सोते न तुम असगर झूले में तड़पते थे, सोते न तुम असगर झूले में तड़पते, दुनिया को खबर क्या थी एक तीर सुलाएगा, दुनिया को खबर क्या थी एक तीर सुलाएगा। असहाब ने दम तोड़ा शबीर की जानू पर, असहाब ने दम तोड़ा शबीर को जानू पर, किस जानू पर अपना शबीर कटाएगा, किस जानू पर अपना शबीर कटाएगा। सरवर ने उठाई थी सब साथियों की लाशें, सरवर ने उठाई थी सब साथियों की लाशें, शब्बीर तेरे लाशा अब कौन बचाएगा, शब्बीर तेरा लाशा अब कौन उठाएगा। सलवात।
पर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Mu'mineen, tonight's Ruhani Majlis announcements. The first Majlis has been sponsored by Bande Khuda for the Isale Sawab of Marhum Ali Bhai Rajab Ali Pardhan, Maromeens of Panjwani family, Maromeens of Pardhan family, Maromeens of Mamdani family, and Kul Maromeens. The next Majlis has been sponsored by the family of Marum Amir Ali Bhai Muhammad Ali Meghji for the Isale Sawab of Marum Amir Ali Bhai Muhammad Ali Meghji, Maruma Mansura Bhai Meghji, Marumeens of Meghji family, Marumeens of Dharamshi family, and Kul Marumeens. You all humbly requested to recite Surah Fatiha for Kul Marumeens. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman.
Can I request you boys, please, if you can come a bit in front. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله والحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. واللعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم أجمعين. أما بعد. My dear elders, brothers and sisters in Islam and Iman, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This evening we have assembled to commemorate the Shahadat anniversary of our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad Al-Baqir, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa. So first and foremost, on behalf of you all, we send our condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Sahibul Zaman, Ajjalallahu Farajahu Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa. And of course to the scholars of the Ummah, as well as to all the Muslimin, Muslimat. It is also, as the sun sets, it will be eve of the day of Friday. So let us on this occasion when we have assembled, remember all our marhumin and gift them with Surah Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. مستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم Recite salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. We pray for the maghfirah of all our marhumeen. My dear elders, brothers and sisters, looking at the title of our fifth Imam, he is known as Al-Baqir. And Baqir in Arabic means one who splits. And he's been given this title, Al-Baqir, because he had split the knowledge. What does splitting of the knowledge mean? It is important to understand what was the situation, especially when we look at the Iman as well as towards the actions of the Muslims at that time. You will recall, because it has been mentioned from this member, that at the time when our third Imam began his movement, which of course is tomorrow. Of course, the movement began in Medina, but 8th of Dhul Hijjah, when he takes forward and he's ready to leave Mecca. When Imam began his movement, the reason for Imams taking that stand and leaving Madinatul Munawwara was in order to bring about reform in the Ummah of his grandfather, that is Ummah of the Holy Prophet, which Imam had made it very clear. Okay. Imam wanted to change the minds of the people. And the event of Imam's meeting with Abdullah bin Umar in Mecca itself is a proof that Imam said that this ummah is so much asleep that it is similar to those Bani Israel who used to kill 70 prophets between the time of Fajr up to sunrise. Yet in the morning when they used to go doing about their businesses, they thought that they have not done anything wrong. And Imam was trying to explain to Abdullah bin Umar that this is the situation. So Imam wanted to bring about reformation. And the important step in reformation is that people understand what is the truth, reflect upon that truth, and then follow the straight path. Imam Hussein al-Islam was martyred in Karbala. Imam Ali Zainul Abidin salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. After the event of Karbala mentions, this is in Biharul Anwar, Imam says, between Mecca and Medina, there were no more than 20 of our followers. No more than 20 of our followers. In other words, others with the thousands that were present in Mecca and Medina, they had turned away from true Islam. And that is why Imam Ali Zainul Abidin al-Islam, the steps that he took after the event of Harra, after the event of Tawwabun, after the martyrdom of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, the steps that Imam took was education. Education. When he was not publicly allowed to teach the people, the Muslim Ummah, in the Masjidun Nabawi, Imam's form of education was the advices that he used to give, especially on Friday. Whilst he participated like other people in Salatul Jumu'ah, he was present in Masjidun Nabawi and he used to give them advices quoting the verses of the Holy Quran. But the next step that he took was something which was unique, that he used to buy slaves. and then train them for an year or 2 years. And we find in the life history of our fourth Imam that in the month of Ramadan, Imam used to free the slaves after training them. And these are the same slaves who became the narrators of the ahadith of our fourth Imam. After the martyrdom of our fourth Imam came the time of fifth Imam. That distortion still was there in the Muslim Ummah. And that distortion was from 2 angles. I'm just trying to explain why he is called Al-Baqir, the splitter of knowledge. First distortion was, of course, those ideas that were creeping in by the scholars, those scholars who were bought by the rulers of the time. And these scholars were ready to say whatever was pleasing to the ruler. They did not care whether this is true Islam, this is against the Quran, this is against the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet. They were not caring about it. Most important was that their pockets were being filled and people used to respect them and people used to accept them. This was distortion that was going on. That is from one side. And from the second side was the rulers who wanted to establish their authority. If my children, young children sitting over here, young brothers and sisters here, listen to one of the distortion that was brought about by Banu Umayyah and how dangerous it was. One of the distortion that they brought about was to tell the people, the Muslims, that Khilafat, astaghfirullah, al-ayadhu billah, is superior than Nubuwwat. Is there anyone superior than the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. There is no one superior than the Holy Prophet. He is the chief of all the prophets. He is the chief of all the messengers. And he is the seal of the prophets. But this is how, in order to establish their rule and that people would then forcibly accept them and people would forcibly follow them, they came up with this idea to say that Khilafat, astaghfirullah, al-ayadhu billah, is superior than Nubuwwat. It is better than Nubuwwat. And this is where our fifth Imam took up this step. And he continued with that work of educating and telling the people about the true teachings of Islam. And that is why we find in the life history of our fifth Imam that there was a time when one of the Banu Umayyah Khalifa, if I'm not wrong, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, when he entered into Masjidun Nabawi and when he saw that there were hundreds of students sitting there and our fifth Imam directing and fifth Imam teaching. And at the time when he entered, fifth Imam was talking about the subject what is known as geography today. And in the presence there amongst the students was our sixth Imam, keenly listening to what his father was teaching. And it was at that time when Abdul Malik bin Marwan said, and this young boy can understand. And when he was told that he is best amongst all those who are sitting there, he wanted to test. So he tested sixth Imam and sixth Imam replied. And so you can see that Imam used that opportunity and he was expounding on the teachings of Quran, on the teachings of the Holy Prophet, and what Imam Ali alayhi salam and the other Imam had explained. Fifth Imam got the opportunity, and that's why he was called Al-Baqir. Recite salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. Now I want to come to that part in the life of our fifth Imam where he comes to assist in order to protect and preserve the Islamic teachings in a manner which is different. It's not education in that way. When we study the life of our first Imam, we come to understand that during those 25 years when he had observed silence and when he had maintained that position of remaining silent, that silence was not complete silence. Whenever there was time that came upon the teaching of the Prophet, when there was a time when that came upon Islam, and Islam was under attack, Mawla Ali bin Abi Talib al-Islam used to stand up and defend those people who had taken away his rights. When they needed help of first Imam, our first Imam would go in order to explain to them. Now we find a similar situation in the life of fifth Imam, that there was a time when the Roman emperor wanted to establish his authority and to have control over the Muslim world. And the best way to have the control was control the economy. If you control the economy, then you will be able to rule over them. You will be able to dictate to them your terms. What was happening at that time was that the coins that were being minted for the Islamic kingdom were being minted by the Roman Empire. And what was being minted there was something which was against the teaching of Islam. For example, you find that in Egypt there was embroidery being done on the books and some other embroidery being done where the teaching was about Nabi Isa alayhi salam being the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. That was what was being shown. When Abdul Malik bin Marwan came to know about this, he immediately ordered that this should be stopped. And he then said that we are not going to allow this to happen, this to continue. Abdul Malik bin Marwan received not one, but 3 letters, one after another. I'm trying to explain this in short in order to come down to the main point. Okay? The first time he wrote, he sent some gifts. Abdul Malik bin Marwan refused to accept the letter of the Roman emperor and the gifts also. The messenger returns. Next time, Roman emperor sends the letter with double the gift. Maybe this person wants more. Therefore, he refused the first time. Let me send double gift. And again, Abdul Malik bin Marwan refused and he said, I am not going to do this. The third time, he now, with the letter, threatened Abdul Malik bin Marwan that we will economically seize you in such a way that you will not be able to establish, you will not be able to survive. So accept what has been going on and we will continue to mint your coins over here. Abdul Malik bin Marwan refused. He said, I'm not going to do this. But at the same time, he was in worries. Whom to call? No IMF at that time. Whom to call? Call the experts, the scholars. what to do. Everyone is thinking. No one can come up with a solution. Now, I am giving you my understanding as to why they couldn't come up with a solution. My understanding is that the whole thinking of theirs was connected with materialism and connected with whatever the great empire, the Roman Empire was at that time. Their connection was there. They were thinking in that line. One of the person came to Abdul Malik bin Marwan and told him, Abdul Malik, there is one person whom you are avoiding, and he is the one who will be able to solve your problem. Who is this? He said, Muhammad bin Ali, Al-Baqir, salawatullah wa salamu alayh. Call him. Imam was called. When Imam was, now of course Abdul Malik respects the Imam, welcomes him, makes him sit next to him, explains the problem very nicely. Okay? This is like, when people have some need of someone, makhan maro, go on buttering, because we are in need of that. Okay? So now he is being very good to Imam, though in his heart he had enmity towards Imam. Called him, sat down, discussed. Imam said, you don't have to worry. Imam told him, you don't have to worry for two reasons. So what is first reason? He said, first reason is that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa has already said that the Roman emperor is not going to succeed in this. Has already said that he is not going to succeed. Number one. Number two is you start minting your own coins now. Get those experts and on one side write down the kalima la ilaha illallah, on the other side write down the surah Qul huwallahu ahad. And go on minting the gold and the silver coins, and let those be the, the coins or the currency that is going to be used in the trade. And if people want to trade with us, then they would have to trade with us in our currency, not their currency. I think Putin learned from there. Okay. This is where Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam came down in order to preserve. This is the question of the Muslim Ummah. Okay. Now, we come to a second situation where there is one person who becomes the ruler of the Muslims. He is counted amongst the Khalifas of Banu Umayyah, but he is considered to be one who was favorable or who favored the Ahlul Bayt of the Holy Prophet. And that person is Umar bin Abdul Aziz. I want to share this evening with you one of the saying that our fifth Imam gives to person who is ruling over the Muslims. He is already a ruler. When I went through the whole incident, I came to realize that when Umar bin Abdul Aziz came to power, Umar bin Abdul Aziz introduced few things that were in favor of the Ahlul Bayt of the Holy Prophet. Now, I'm not going to recount everything, but one thing for us to understand. Today, when people do ask as to why do we remember Imam Ali alayhi salam so much, it is because there was a period of about 80 years that the time when Imam Ali alayhi salam was being humiliated every week on a Friday after the Jummah khutbah. And this was not only happening in Medina, it was happening throughout the Muslim world, because this was the order of the Khalifa, that astaghfirullah al-ayadhu billah, Imam Ali alayhi salam should be cursed and should be humiliated after Friday khutbah. And this continued. But there was this period when Umar bin Abdul Aziz said, stop, it's not going to happen. Why? This is the question, why? Umar bin Abdul Aziz, when he was very young, you can see young boys sitting over here, when he was very young, one day he went to his father and he told him, Father, I see that you deliver Jummah khutbah. At that time, you deliver without any difficulties. But when it comes down to cursing Imam Ali alayhi salam, you stammer. You stammer. Now the father says, my son, did you notice that I stammer? I said, yes, I noticed that you stammer. Why? Is the question now. Why? And he said, my son, this Khilafat belongs to them, not to us. This Khilafat belongs to them, not to us. For if they were to be given this Khilafat, then they would do it much better than the way we are ruling over the people. And we would have no authority, we would have no power at all. Umar bin Abdul Aziz from that time remembered. And when he became the Khalifa, there was a time when he was governor of Medina, but then when he became the Khalifa of the Muslims, he immediately stopped that. This was one good thing. Now, when he became Khalifa, he invited our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad Al-Baqir, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. He said, now these are words of the historians who have written, okay, they said that when Umar bin Abdul Aziz became the Khalifa, he invited the Imam and he told the Imam, give me useful commandments to manage my government. Give me useful commandments to manage my government. You are told, right? So Boris Johnson has gone, all right, but maybe new Prime Minister might call you and say, give me advice. What advice would you give him? You can think, I'm not going to discuss that. You can think as to what advice. Most of the time we would be talking about economy, we would be talking about justice, we would be talking about something else. Look at what Imam said. Imam said to Umar bin Abdul Aziz, ittaqullah. The first thing I advise to you is fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Fear the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. Fear of doing wrong to the people. And then after that, Imam says, Usika an tattakhidha saghir al-muslimin waladan. Allahu Akbar. I wish I would have time to expound on this. I'm going to leave it upon you for you to think. Remember, the question is advice to manage the government. What does Imam say? Imam says, and I advise you that you should regard the young one of the Muslim as your son. Regard the young one of the Muslim as your son. وَأَوْسَطَهُمْ أَخًا, and the middle one of them as your brother. وَكَبِيرُهُمْ أَبًا, and the old one of them as your father. Okay? So young one as your son, the middle one as your brother, and the older one than you as your father. Now Imam says to him, فَارْحَمْ وَلَدَكَ, have mercy on your son. Have mercy on your son. وَصِلْ أَخَاكَ, and treat your brother kindly. وَبَرًّا أَبَاكَ, and obey your father. In today's term, it says, what did Imam say? Shukidu Imam. Think deeply. Because what I'm going to say to you now is what Omar bin Abdul Aziz said. Omar bin Abdul Aziz. Then Imam also told him one more thing. Imam told him, وَإِذَا صَنَعْتَ مَعْرُوفًا فَرَبَّهُ. When you do a favor, then go on doing it. Don't stop in the middle. This is what Omar bin Abdul Aziz said. By Allah, you have gathered these things. If we put these things into effect and Allah helps us with them, we will continue, the good will continue for us if Allah wishes. If we put this into effect, put this into practice. Okay. Young one, have mercy on them. Same age, they are your brother. Treat them kindly. With your elders, obey them. Listen to them. What they say. Don't just go away like that. Recite salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now, my dear elders and brothers and sisters, remember on the eve of, or on the day of Shahadat, anniversary of our 9th Imam, I had mentioned a person by the name of Jabir bin Yazid bin Al-Haris Ju'fi. If you remember the incident very quickly, person who was a close companion of 5th Imam as well as 6th Imam. And it is mentioned in the books of history that he studied under the 6th Imam for 18 years. And when he decided to return to Kufa, he came to Imam and he said, give me advice. And Imam had told him at that time, even after 18 years, you are ready to listen to advice? Even after 18 years, you still want me to advise you? This was something very positive that Imam said. It is good that you still want to take something. You don't want to go empty-handed. This person, Jabir, he comes from what is the family known as Al-Ju'fi. This family is originally from Yemen. From Yemen, they had migrated to Kufa. And Jabir had come to Medina when he was very young. On the first day that he came to meet our 5th Imam, first day, when he came to meet our 5th Imam, Imam asked him all the details, personal details. Who are you? Where have you come from? Who is your father? Imam asked all those details. After that, Imam told him 2 things. Number 1, he told him, "O Jabir, if someone tells you, where are you from? Don't tell them you are from Kufa, tell them you are from Medina." Jabir said, "Mullah, should I speak lies? Astaghfirullah al-iyadhu billah." Imam said, "No, I'm not asking you to speak lies. Because you are going to stay in Medina, you are a person of Medina. So it is right for you to say that I'm from Medina. And number 2, Jabir, you are the keeper of the secrets of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam." In other words, Imam told him, "Jabir, I am going to teach you many things, insha'Allah, but I do not want that you should reveal everything that I teach you. You have to keep our secrets." And therefore you find in the books of history, in the books of Rijal, it is mentioned when they talk about Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi, they say he is the keeper of the secrets of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Hafidhu sirri Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Imam gave him some advice, and this is what I want to share with you as we talk about 5th Imam. Let us look at the advice. Again, very simple advices. But look, how important it is. How important it is in our everyday life. Okay? We want to go and study psychology. We want to go and study from this viewpoint, from that viewpoint. My dear elders, brothers, sisters, I am inviting you, study from the Islamic viewpoint. Imam told him, Usika bi khamsin. I advise you of 5 things. Number 1, in zulimta fala tazlum. When people do wrong to you, do not do wrong to them. When people do wrong to you, do not do wrong to them. Keep this in mind. Number 2, Imam told him, وَإِنْ خَانُوكَ فَلَا تَخُنْ. And if they betray you, you do not betray them. You do not betray them. Number 3, وَإِن كُذِّبْتَ فَلَا تَقْضَبْ. When they accuse you of lying, do not become angry. When they accuse you of lying, do not become angry. وَإِن مُدِحْتَ فَلَا تَفْرَحْ. And if they praise you, do not become happy. If they praise you, do not become happy. وَإِن ذُمِمْتَ فَلَا تَجْزَعْ. And when they dispraise you, then be patient. 5 things, right? What did Imam teach? Why do you think Imam taught this thing? That when someone does wrong to you, do not do wrong to them. When someone betrays you, do not betray them. When someone praises you, do not become happy. When someone accuses you of lying, do not be angry. And when they dispraise you, be patient. Why? If we study and if we reflect, Imam Muhammad Al-Baqir salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh is planting the seeds of goodness into the heart of a person who reads this. Someone does wrong to me and I do wrong to him. I now have started the habit of doing wrong. If someone praises me and I become very happy, I have started now building in me that character that people should praise me when I do something good. If someone betrays me and I betray, I have started building up that character of betraying the people. Very simple. But after that, what Imam said is something very important. I will leave out the Arabic part, so I will just go straight to the English. And I want us to all, request you all to understand. Imam then said, if you know what they say is against you, if you know what they say against you is in yourself, in other words, they are telling you what is wrong in you, and it is in you, that wrong is in you, that do not be angry out of the truth. Don't be angry. In other words, reflect upon it. As to what they have done is actually pointed you out what is your wrong. What is wrong? 6th Imam says, your true brother is one who tells you your mistakes on your face. Then Imam says, for to become low with Allah, the great and almighty, is more disastrous than to become low with the people. If you become low in the eyes of Allah Azza wa Jal, that is more disastrous than becoming low in the eyes of the people. And then Imam says, if you are contrary to what they say. Means they said something about you which is not in you. It is contrary. In fact, that evil characteristic or that wrongness is not in you. It is not in you, Imam said, then obtain a reward while your body is not tired. In other words, when someone speaks wrong about you, which is not in you, you are getting thawab free of charge without making any efforts. But the first part of the hadith, where Imam Ali Zainul Abidin salawatullah salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, explained in Dua Makarimul Akhlaq. When you go to Dua Makarimul Akhlaq, you are asking for good qualities to come in you, and you are asking and praying to Allah that those evil qualities go out of you. Here Imam is explaining in this way that these are qualities that one should not adopt. Okay? And we remember the verse of the Holy Quran. Remember when we were doing the Dua Makarimul Akhlaq, we came across this verse. Those of you who were present and remember. Idfa' billati hiya ahsan. When you want to retaliate, when you want to answer, when you want to reply to someone who has done wrong to you, reply with goodness. And this is exactly what our fifth Imam is teaching over here. As we have assembled to remember our fifth Imam, we remember with the teachings of the fifth Imam. And our fifth Imam and all the other A'immah Tahirin alayhimus salam, in reality, are the role models for us. Haqiqatan, surely, my dear elders, brothers and sisters, if we study their life, we will get the guidance from them that enables us how to keep our connection with Allah Azza wa Jal to be very strong, how to interact with the mu'mineen brother, how to interact with those who are not of our faith. How do we live within the family? How do we live with the relatives? How do we act with them? We should not be influenced by the wives and by all those other things that are coming. Rather, we should look towards Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, for they are the true role models. And I'll give you, in order to connect it with Masa'ib. Month of Muharram is approaching very fast. I want you to reflect as the month of Muharram comes. Ask this question. Why should I be participating in the mourning and the weeping ceremonies of the martyrs of Karbala? Ask this question. You may have emotional attachment, but think of the intellectual attachment that you have with Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Proof? Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. This is for the children, please. My elders are going to forgive me because I want to read Masa'ib today in English, because I want the children to understand. My dear children, when our fifth Imam was on his deathbed, we'll come to why and how he was given the poison, but when he was on his deathbed, he allocated some money, and he said that every year in Mina, this money should be used where people should be reminded about Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. They should be reminded about what difficult life he led and how he was being oppressed. Imam Muhammad Baqir al-Islami literally was trying to sow the seed amongst the Muslim community at those difficult times, that do not forget my grandfather. Do not forget my grandfather, Imam Husain alayhi salam. Azadar, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam used to tell his Shias, during those times when it was very difficult for the Shias to get together and remember Imam Husain alayhi salam, remember the event of Karbala. Remember this, that those years had passed, but Banu Umayyah were controlling and trying to make sure that the remembrance of Imam Husain alayhi salam is wiped out. Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam used to tell his Shias, on the day of Ashura, if you can get together 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 families on the day of Ashura, sit together and recount as to what happened to my grandfather on the plains of Karbala. Recount as to how difficult time they had to pass, how they were thirsty for 3 days, and how even the small children suffered. Remember those events on the plain of Karbala. And after that, when it is time of Asr, face towards Karbala and say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Ha Azadar of Imam Muhammad Baqir. There was time when Hisham bin Abdul Malik could not bear to see that how the influence of Imam Muhammad Baqir was increasing. Imam Muhammad Baqir used to pull the people towards him by his akhlaq, by his good conduct, by his sincerity. It was then decided that Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam be given poison. Imam, the governor of Medina, was given the poison. He sent that whatever it was, either in a juice or it was in food. And Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam suffered for some days. And when the time came near, he called all his relatives, and then he told Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam that after my passing away, give me ghusl and give me kafan with 3 pieces, and then after that bury me. When Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam passed away from this world, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam prepared the janazah of his father. And Azadar, at that time, thousands of people accompanied the janazah of Muhammad Al-Baqir alayhi salam. And Imam was buried in Jannatul Baqir. My heart tells me that at that time the ruh of Imam Muhammad Baqir must have remembered. I was present in Karbala. I saw my grandfather. His body was trampled with the hooves of the horses. My grandfather's body was just left on the plains of Karbala. For 3 days, it was just left there. No kafan on it, nor were the Muslims ready to bury the body of my grandfather. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون ماتم يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.
या हुसैन नूरे नज़र लाखते जिगर आ मेरे लाल आ अली असगर नूरे नज़र लाखते जिगर आ मेरे लाल आ अली असगर ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है रातें अंधेरी सुनसान बंद ढूंढूं कहाँ तुझे ऐ गुलबदन रातें अंधेरी सुनसान बंद ढूंढूं कहाँ तुझे है गुलबदन रो रो पुकारे माँ दिल जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया अम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है वक्त मदद है मुश्किल कुशा मुश्किल करो हल बहरे खुदा वक्त मदद है मुश्किल कुशा मुश्किल करो हल बहरे खुदा तुम ही बता दो मौला अली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है जंगल में कैसे जादू खो गया खाली है झूला ए महल का जंगल में कैसे जादू खो गया खाली है झूला ए महल का किसको जुलाए अम्मा तेरी नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है तेरी जमीन पर ए करबला गुम हो गया है बच्चा मेरा तेरी जमीन पर ए करबला गुम हो गया है बच्चा मेरा ढूंढ रही हूँ गली गली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है रातें अंधेरी सुनसान बंद ढूंढूं कहाँ तुझे ए गुलबदन रातें अंधेरी सुनसान बंद ढूंढूं कहाँ तुझे ए गुलबदन रो रो पुकारी माँ दिल जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है वक्त मदद है मुश्किल कुशा मुश्किल करो हल बहरे खुदा वक्त मदद है मुश्किल कुशा मुश्किल करो हल बहरे खुदा तुम ही बता दो मौला अली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है जंगल में कैसे जादू खो गया खाली है झूला ए महल का जंगल में कैसे जादू खो गया खाली है झूला ए महल का किसको झूलाए अम्मा तेरी नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है तेरी ज़मीं पर ए करबला गुम हो गया है बच्चा मेरा तेरी ज़मीं पर ए करबला गुम हो गया है बच्चा मेरा ढूंढ रही हूँ गली गली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है ढल गया सूरज शम्मा जली नन्ना मेरा असगर कहाँ गया है या हुसैन या हुसैन
Suratul Mubarakatul Fatiha. Bismillah. Mu'mineen, we finish the program with recitation of Ziyarat-e-Waisa and then please head downstairs for Tabarruk. Namaz-e-Maghrib is at 9:43. Assam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفة الله السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين ولي الله السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى والسلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثار والوتر الموتور أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين فلعن الله أمة قتلت ولعن الله أمة ظلمت ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرذي الذكي الهادي المهدي وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا، وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواطيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. زيارة حضرة علي أكبر عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلت، ولعن الله أمة ظلمت، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زيارة شهداء كربلاء عليهم السلام. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه، السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأعداءه، السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الناصح، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله، بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم، وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم، وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زيارة حضرة عباس عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله، وأشهد أنك قد جاهدت ونصحت وصبرت حتى أتاك اليقين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين، وألحقهم بدرجك الجحيم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمين الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين وسيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر. السلام عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاه، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا حجة بن الحسن. السلام عليك يا إمامنا والإمام الإنس والجان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليك يا دافع الظلم والعدوان. السلام عليك يا أبا صالح، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك، وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك وشيعتك والمستشهدين بين يديك، ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ما كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاردا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا رحيم. صلوات.